I am very excited to dive into this album, and I hope that you guys are as well. Let's go ahead and get Metamatic with it. Metamatic. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you're having a lovely one out there. Hope you're doing well, just having a fantastic day or evening, wherever you're watching and however you're watching. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to listen to John Foxx, his debut studio album, Metamatic, released 1980. We are listening to this because you guys had suggested it. You guys told me to listen to it for a long time. And so we're going to go ahead and do so. Some of you that have suggested this particular album have been, and we got a list to go through here. Huzzah, Keith Daw, Group Music, AK, Replicants, Group Music, I see you again. AK, I see you again. Christian Mueller, David Emery, Group Music, hold on, I got you. Just someone with a period as their username. Felsic Volcanic Glass, Leigh Herlock, Chris Sheldon, Carlo Mercurio, Lil Ailsey, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Martin I'm going too fast. Lindner. I'm sorry. Glib Medley. This list is going back. I'm at 2 years, by the way, right now. Cole J. Days, Michael Capewell, Sirme, Murdoch Reviews, Gamma Monteria. Listen, and I'm going back, and this album, this reaction is dedicated to all of you, but I'm just putting a gold star next to AK's name on this one because AK has been asking for this one. I'm looking at it 4 years. Thank you so much for the endurance. And you've been watching, I know. So thank you as well. I appreciate all the support and everything. Now, I'm very excited to dive into this. On this album, we've already listened to Underpass. So that track we did do a reaction to a few years ago. And then I also did a reaction to John Foxx's The Garden, the title track of that album. And I really loved that. And I wanted to, just telling you where my mindset was, I wanted to listen to The Garden. I just wanted to listen to it because I really loved that title track. But I figured let's back it up. Let's go to the debut, listen to this one first, and then perhaps we'll move on from there. Because I just liked the sound that he was coming up with there. So it just sounded really cool. So I'm really excited to dive into this one. I hope that you guys are as well for another Long Song Saturday. Before we dive in, I got to get the plugs out the way. Just press the like button. We're 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, and I think you know the routine by now. If you've been watching for as long as I know you have, just press that like button if you don't mind. If you would like to share it, it helps a great deal in helping other people find the channel as well. You can, of course, support what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month, exclusive videos and reactions there. And you can also skip the request line if you'd like over on the Buy Me a Coffee page. Now that we got all the plugs out, I got to get them out the way. It's just YouTube, not courtesy, but it's just what I got to do. I don't know who's telling me to do it, but I got to do it. So let's go ahead and dive on into the first album. I'm sorry, the first song, but also not wrong. Yes, this is his first album, which is going to be Plaza. And as always, my friends, my wife made this special kale, blueberry, raspberries, some other things, yogurt smoothie, little health kick really quick. This first sip, of course, is to you. Big, mysterious swell. I like how it envelops. Starting the pulse on the rhythm.
On the plaza, we're dancing slowly, lit like photographs.
Is this Gary Newman?
Across the plaza, toward the shadow of the cenotaph. Down escalators, come to the sea view. Behind all the smoke glass, no one sees you. A familiar figure comes to meet you. I remember your face from some shattered windscreen. Across the plaza, a giant hoarding of Italian cars. Across the plaza, the lounge is occupied by Sam and I.
Like how he matches that same note with that synth.
Down escalators, come to the sea view. Behind all the smoke glass, no one sees you.
the
I
synth.
remember your face from some shattered windscreen.
This sound right here is so big and enveloping. I love how especially the rhythm is being set by that harp.
On the plaza, the highways curving over reservoirs. On the plaza, a queue is forming for the cinemas. Down escalators, come to the sea view. Behind those smoke glass, no one sees you. A familiar figure comes to meet you.
Quick rattle off.
I remember your face from some shattered windscreen. On the plaza, on the plaza, on the plaza, on the plaza.
It's a big whoop at the end of there too. Right there. It's like a suction cup.
On the plaza, on the plaza, on the plaza. On the plaza.
I love a first track that sets the pace for a basic outline of what you can expect from the rest of the album. Because what you're getting in here, and I'm also keeping Ultravox in the back of my mind as well, right? What is John Foxx in his solo material? What am I taking from Ultravox and hearing here in his solo work, right? And I like how we get so much more of a solo electronic based art project here as we move forward into the music, and how we're taking away, of course, the other band members, the other instruments and stuff. We're keeping bass and a lot of synth. And then we're pretty much moving forward with that. And I like how the kind of dramatic mysteriousness of Foxx's voice and the way that he performs here still carries through in the music very well. The way that he almost plaintively speaks about certain things, just casually observing this plaza and the things happening, the events that he sees occurring. He speaks just very much so as just a pure like visual. And there's something in the electronic music itself that's a little mundane. And I don't mean in a negative way at all. I don't mean the music is ordinary, because I think that this is far from that. I just mean in the way that he sings, there's something mundane about it. Very much reminiscent of Gary Newman and a lot of the music here as well. And especially because of the bass playing, which, hold on, let me see. That bass was going to be played by Jake Durant is playing bass here on this album. And the bass playing that he gives here is kind of like how we had recently listened to I Assassin from Gary Newman and incorporating Pino on the bass there, which was just a lovely sound. And not quite to that extent, but we're getting something similar here, which the bass playing is so wonderfully accenting those synths and the bubbling keys and the arps and all those things that Foxx is, of course, handling there, alongside John Wesley Barker, who's credited with additional synths and keyboards. And I like how, for example, in the beginning, this is how masterful Foxx kind of composes the music here. So let me just pull it back really quick. I love the opening and how kind of mysterious and darkly epic it sounds in kind of filling this this moment here. Right here. This is dark. It's brooding, right? But see how, whether it's Foxx or Wesley handling the bop, 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 there's a rhythm that begins there that wasn't started. It was part of that sustained note. But once that bop, 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 then that rhythm begins to start. Yeah, the drums are already going, but now there's an additional hop on there as the drums and bass now proceed. And I just think that that's such a cool way of kind of foretelling and foreleading us. That is not a word, probably. into where the song is going to go once John enters vocally and actually, kind of begins the verse and the song in that regard. I think that works really well. The chorus is nice. It's not really like a catchy chorus to me, but it's a nice returning motif. In the plaza. And then you got that synth that plays the same notes. Like, there's so many different sounds that I think are really cool, how those are all kind of coming together. Near the end, you hear that whoop, that big, thick whoop that happens. And while I can't tell you about the original, we're clearly listening to a remastered version here, 2014 remastered version. And I think that it, at least from what I'm listening to, it gives a lot of enveloping sound to the music here. Let's take a look at these lyrics really quick. On the plaza, we're dancing slowly, lit like photographs across the plaza toward the shadow of the cenotaph. Down escalators, come to the sea view. Behind all the smoked glass, no one sees you. A familiar figure comes to meet you. Remember your face from some shattered windscreen. Across the plaza, a giant hoarding of I guess it is catchy. A giant hoarding of Italian cars across the plaza. The lounge is occupied by seminars. Then this repeats again, once again. So you can almost imagine him sitting in the plaza of some, big city or, hotel or something in front of him. He's watching the escalators coming down and up, the elevators coming down. He says, they see, or he sees this familiar person coming to meet you. I remember your face. Who was this person? Never revealed. And it goes on from there. Behind all the smoked glass, no one sees you. And perhaps even if the glass wasn't smoked, would they see you? Because if you're in a crowd, especially in a city or sorts, just faces and places moving around. I don't know. There's a mysteriousness in the story that's being built there, or at least hinted at in the lyrics, but hints is all we receive. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be He's a Liquid. That means he matters. Please clap. Now do me a solid and let's play the next track. Sorry. I love that groove. It's so heavy. Kind of gothic.
There's an angle, she's a tangent. There's some flowers on the bathroom floor. There's a click track, now she makes a flashback. There's a liquid. Here's a laugh, she's a graph. He wears a sticky white shirt and tie. In those viscose clothes, his watch and glows. He's a liquid.
I like how he plays within the space of the drum. I can't remember listening to this.
He's adhesive. Is a trickle down of falling wall. They get married too much. She's a soft touch. Is a liquid. He pulls. She pushed. They read the Bible about the flood. She draws the curtains, but now she's certain. He's a liquid.
As heavy and dark as it is, this is very beautiful. Okay, I apologize. My throat's been hurting like the past few days here. I love how deep that drum is because that is that rhythmic focus, right? And it's so heavy. And the brooding atmosphere that Foxx is creating back there with that organ-esque synth that just overarches and overreaches everything. Ba, ba, ba. It is so wonderfully and delightfully heavy. And like I said, to me, it sounds very gothic. Whether you want to go gothic cathedral or gothic dancing under an underpass with the other techno goths.
Please clap.
Like, I really enjoy how that sounds and how heavy it is. But there's those notes that are on top of the chords from that synth specifically that bring a brightness to it. They bring a light. So, for example, you may be sitting in a dark cathedral, but at the same time, the sun comes through those stained-colored glasses, and all of a sudden, there's these beautiful radiant colors dancing on the walls that just adds a different kind of divine light onto everything. I feel like that's what we're getting here. For, I don't know what he's even talking about. The lyrics with "he's a liquid." He's a liquid. He seems to sometimes, you know, the music comes across to me serious, but when he comes in singing, sometimes there's a levity that Foxx brings that I think just kind of, in a great, delightful, charismatic way, kind of throws it out the window to an extent, while still to an extent maintaining a level of seriousness, right? Because of course there's seriousness to the music here. I love how during the verse, the big organist synth drops out and you're really just getting, you know, just the drums and a little bit of swirl under there. But on the last part of the verse, you hear those kind of, I don't know how else to describe them, those twinkle, twinkle little stars, those chimes kind of coming in to once again kind of give you a hint of what's to come with some of that light. And I think that that's absolutely wonderful. Remind me, after we go over the lyrics, to show you something. I know you can't remind me, but remind me, okay? Let's look at these lyrics. He's an angle, she's a tangent. I like that we're bringing in some geometry here. Here's some flowers on the bathroom floor. He's a click track. Now she makes a flashback. He's a liquid. He's a laugh. She's a graph. We're really getting mathematic here, which, by the way, might be a play on words. We have to look into the Wikipedia page. He wears a sticky white shirt and tie in those viscous clothes. His watch hand glows. He's a liquid. So all right, when he says like, okay, well, he's an angle, she's a tangent. Like, he's flexible. No, she's elusive. He's adhesive. Like if you were to take water and, you know, when you take a cup of water and you're trying to, you know, pour it into another glass or something and it sticks to the glass, water adhesion. I think that's what he's talking about there. He's a trickle down a falling wall. They get married too much. She's a soft touch. He's a liquid. He pulls, she pushed. They read the Bible about the flood. She draws the curtains because now she's certain he's a liquid. I feel like this is about two people with different personalities, but they still come together. But I gotta tell you, I have no idea, truly. Let's read a little bit about the album before we move forward. Maybe there's some stuff we should know. It says it was his first solo project, of course, following his split from Ultravox. A departure from the mix of synths and conventional rock instrumentation, Metamatic was purely electronic in sound. The name Metamatic comes from a painting machine by kinetic artist Jean Tingley, first exhibited at the Paris Biennial in 1959. It peaked at number 18 on the UK single or albums chart. Let's go ahead and look at this. I like to learn a little bit. So this is, I guess, the painting machine. The most famous, number 17, was created especially for what we just mentioned, the Paris Biennial. The piece, which was driven by a small engine, served as a prototype for his larger scale, self-destructing pieces. The Metamatics and their artistic output brought Tingley a new level of fame. Do you think we could find that? Give me a little bit. Let me see if I can find that on YouTube. Maybe we can see if there's a video of this. Metamatics, Jean Tingley. There we go. Let's see if there's any video of this. That'd be kind of cool to see. Okay, so the most famous was 17, right? We said? Let's see if we can find 17. If I can't find 17, then I believe I found 18. I don't see that one. So let me go ahead and look on Switzerland's website. Love a little Switzerland in my life. Oh, that's loud music. I'm sorry. All right. I don't know if that's copyright, so we're just gonna watch.
Jean Tinguely begann seine Karriere Mitte der 50er Jahre in Paris mit einem wahren Schaffensrausch von Werken, die es bisher nicht gegeben hatte, darunter auch seine sogenannten Metamatic-Zeichenmaschinen. Diese verhandeln das Verhältnis zwischen Kunstproduktion und Betrachter neu, indem die Maschine gleichzeitig Kunst produziert, aber selber ein Kunstwerk ist.
Really cool.
Und der Betrachter Einfluss hat darauf, wie das Kunstwerk entsteht, indem er die Maschine bedient und die Farben auswählt, die dann aufs Papier kommen. Das war wirklich revolutionär und war auch eine Kritik an der gestischen Abstraktion seiner Zeit.
I think that's awesome. I think art is so cool and so like interesting, like the different way that artists, come up with different things. And like he said, the actual machine itself is art already, but it creates art, and anyone can create art based off the machine. That's awesome. Okay, now we have a little, now you have a little knowledge. Okay, remember I told you to remind me about something before we moved on? This is what I want to remind you or tell you or show you. It's so perfect that literally just last night, I haven't made anything recently, but a long time ago, from when I was in high school till, occasionally I dabble. I used to mess around and make like electronic music and stuff, right? And I was literally just last night staying up and looking through my very old emails and looking at some old music that I used to make. This sound from this particular track kind of reminded me a little bit of one of the songs I made. And so I had it because I starred all of them when I was going through my old emails. And so I pulled it up really quick. I'm not going to play the whole thing. And this was never complete. I was just messing around with this. But this is 2014. An old piece of music I was working on. Probably a little loud. I was going to fill it with stuff, but I wasn't quite sure what. Like, there would be other instruments in here, I just didn't get that far with the idea. It's kind of in a similar vein, right? I called this Chambers. That was the name of my tentative title. This is cool, the chorus, though. That's not bad, right? That's not bad. It's one of the few pieces I worked on that I was like, I could probably do something with this. And there's no copyright on this because it's mine. Like, I always liked this kind of sound, so I made music in this kind of sound. Add a little switch up in there, That's not bad, right? And then it goes back to it. But I never, got anywhere further with it, but, yeah, I was working on that. There's a lot of things I was working on. It was fun going back and nostalgically looking back at that. Didn't it kind of remind you a little bit of this sound, though? All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track here, which is going to be Underpass, which, like I said, we've already listened to, so I'm not going to spend a great deal of time talking about it, but it's a great one. After the last two tracks, this really livens things up.
Standing in the dark, watching you glow, lifting a receiver. Nobody I know.
perfect swing.
Over all the bridges, echoes in rows, talking at the same time.
Love the way he holds that note there.
Big drum.
Hey. Hey.
Misty on the glass now, rusty on the door. Here for years now. Click, click, drum. Click, click, drum.
Beat is predictable in how it shifts,
Click,
but it
click, drum.
makes you look forward to it every time that it comes around.
Click, click, drum. Click, click.
This is a good album. I'm just enjoying like just vibing to it. Yeah, so like I said, in actually going through this album, hitting the first two songs before this one, you know, it definitely livens things up in a different way compared to the previous two. It's very, very melodic, much more upbeats, much more energized in a different direction, and I think it perfectly kind of breaks things up at this point in the album. Like, you're still in the beginning, you're not even anywhere near halfway through, but it just kind of gives you an extra different kind of color to work with on this particular palette. I love that synth though. I love the driving drum, that switch up that happens at the end of the bar. Ba, 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 ba. It's very, very fun. The synth, ba, 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 ba. It's like an electronic symphony, the way that Foxx is actually playing. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it with some of the comments I've mentioned before, there does seem to be almost a classical-esque touch to the way that Foxx performs here. I'm actually really curious if Foxx ever had any sort of classical training. I'm pulling up his Wikipedia page here really quick just to see if there's anything that gives us a hint of that. Because like it feels like there would be some sort of history or training or anything like that. I'm just briefly reading here really quick. During his youth in the 60s, he embraced the lifestyles of a mod and a hippie. He experiments with tape recorders and synths while in college. Prior to 73, he was singing and playing a 12-string guitar. So nothing necessarily that I see. So perhaps not. But even if not, he definitely has the ear for it in the way that he approaches the music. Even when I think about, you know, when I listen to Garden by him, there's definitely that touch of that. So I think that comes across really well, especially in a track like this. And I'm thinking, like, when I was listening to this, it just made me think of Kraftwerk. And Man Machine is, like, definitely my favorite album from them. And one of my favorite albums that I've listened to here on the channel that I continually do listen to. And it's just really cool to hear at this particular point in history and, you know, electronic music kind of coming up and being experimented with, the different paths that it could take. You know, I don't know. I didn't really have a thought. I didn't really have like a clear-cut direction I was going with that. I was just kind of wandering in my mind like, oh, you know, it's kind of interesting. Like I said, we're not going to spend too much time on this one because I do already know it. Standing in the dark, watching you glow, lifting a receiver, nobody I know. Which, by the way, you can go back and watch that first reaction if you're interested. Underpass, underpass. Well, I used to remember. Now it's all gone. World War something. We were somebody's sons. Underpass, underpass. I just feel like he's just very much in a stream of conscious, and he's just thinking. He may be sitting in a car under an underpass or, in traffic, and he's just allowing his thoughts to wander. Over all the bridges, echoes and rows, talking at the same time. Click, click, drone. Misty on the glass now, rusty on the door. Here for years now. Click, click, drone. Like the glass is, I'm thinking the car glass is getting misty. It's getting foggy due to the temperature difference. Rusty on the door, the car is getting rusted. And it's here for years now. Maybe it's feeling like there's a lack of progress. Maybe not literally in the car itself, but as his mind is wandering, he's just kind of waxing poetic and thinking about that as he listens to the click, click drone, which makes me think of the wipers. That click, 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 click. I don't know how your wipers sound, but that's how mine would. Next track, Metal Beat. Here we go. Is that like Newman's metal? Oh, funky. A funky little whoop whoop whoop.
Metal beat. Metal beat. Metal beat.
With that light, almost harpsichord-esque sound. There's like 3 layers here.
Gym suit, black hair, thin skin, gold teeth. A triple voice like a silver sheet.
I like the panning in his vocals.
Pulling of the lights, reflecting in my eyes. Pick up a flip top up on the vinyl seat. Metal beat.
I like this back and forth combo with himself.
Metal beat. Metal beat.
On one hand, he sings much more plaintive, just speaking almost.
Metal beat.
There's the cops here. It's all this metal. While on the other side, he kind of sings out a little more outwardly.
Drift in, drift out, we're gone. I'm here. Click on, click off. No, don't get too near.
See?
Name on the shatterproof glass. Melt into my eyes. Let's slide across me in this heat. Metal beat. Metal beat.
Love those keys here.
Metal beat. Metal beat.
That little bass line is so subtly funky. Metal kind of brings things back to that very much more minimalistic kind of empty sound. And I think that is so cool. This would be a great companion album to Two-Way Army with Replicas. Like, they have a similar direction, but they're definitely like different shades of the same hue. Of course, it's named Metal Beat. And so you do get some more kind of metal-esque percussion in there, some more clanking and throwing, not an overly amount, but just a little bit. I love how, once again, how hollow but thumpy that bass is, the kick drum, right? And then you still have that beauty on top of it. He's always matching something dark and heavy, or at least that's how I see it, with something light and melodic. So you have that deep thump of the kick drum, but then you also have that kind of harpsichord-esque kind of sound with the keys. Da, 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 da. And then he even perfectly matches that in his vocal performance, of which I'm assuming he's doing both, just overdubbing himself. And the song kind of is coolly taking place like with a convo with himself. And on one hand, or on one conversation in one persona, he's just kind of speaking much more plainly, a little bit lower in his range. And then the other, he's kind of singing out, almost like an internal outcry. And I love how these two, for example, go back and forth, but then they also begin to harmonize in certain ways as well. It's just a really, really cool way of kind of bringing that contrast to life vocally in the music. This is a really cool album. I'm glad that I chose to listen to this today. You want to know how I choose albums sometimes for my Long Song Saturday? I have a long list. Like, I think there's like 200 and something albums on my list. Literally, yeah, 214. There's 214 albums on my list. When I sit down and I'm like, okay, I have time and I want to listen to an album, because I always listen to an album for a Long Song Saturday when I want to, when I feel relaxed and I know I can spend the time and not feel rushed or anything like that. I literally sit there and I go through that list. And I just look for an album that catches my attention. I found one. I found two. And then I put them together and I'm like, okay, which one do I want to listen to? I go to the comments and I see, like, you know, what people kind of are asking for, and maybe stuff that people aren't asking for, or a lot of people aren't asking for, you know? I don't want to ignore the minors to please the masses, but I also don't want to ignore the masses to please the minors. So I kind of try to play both, right? I'm glad we're here. That's all I got to say. I'm really enjoying this one. This was a great choice for me today. But yeah, just a fantastic song. I don't know what else I had to say about it. I love how deep some of the sounds are. The bass is funky as anything. And I don't know if the bass on this particular track is going to be, not Wesley, Durant, or if it's going to be synth as well, because it did sound a little synthy. But either way, it's doing work. Let's look at these lyrics here. Metal beat. Gym suit, black. I love how fast he just rattles this off. Gym suit, black hair, dim skin, gold teeth. A trickle voice like a silver sheet. The pulling of the light reflecting in my eyes. Pick up a flip top box from a vinyl seat. Drift in, drift out. Where gone? I'm here. Click on, click off. No, don't get too near. Name on the shatterproof glass. Melt into a mass. Let's slide across me in this heat. Metal beat. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. I genuinely feel that he's just talking about normal things, but just in a more mysterious, slightly cryptic way. Could literally just be about someone getting into a taxi, for all I know. You could argue. You could read this and argue. Let me continue reading a little bit more about the album. Let's get a little bit more, because we got sidetracked on the whole Metamatic machine. It was recorded at Pathway Studios, a small 8-track studio in Islington. Foxx's electronic equipment included an ARP Odyssey, an Elka string machine, and a Roland drum machine. Several of the synth parts were played by Wesley, as we said. Dub music was an influence on the production, and you can definitely hear that in the bass or the bass-adjacent sounds here. The lyrics were heavily influenced by the writings of J.G. Ballard. 6 of the tracks referenced automobiles or motorways, obviously Underpass and No One Driving. The song A New Kind of Man is about, I don't care about songs that we haven't covered yet. The song He's a Liquid was influenced by a still from a Japanese horror film depicting a suit draped across a chair in such a way to suggest that the wearer was liquefied. His lyrics also alluded to the fluidity of human relationships. Okay. But there's no footnote like where I could find a picture of that still to see how he came up with that. But that's kind of cool, though. It says he even performed He's a Liquid live with Ultravox before leaving the band. And the band was not credited for them on Metamatic. Interesting. And then when they adapted Touch and Go, Foxx wasn't credited. Okay, a little perhaps bad blood there. Maybe not a great split between him and the band. Underpass was released as a single. Ovid, you could definitely hear where that would be a single on here. Let's see. We're not worrying about those right now. Metal Beats. Okay. Let's see. An in-depth interview with Foxx by Steve Malin. So about the making of this album is the subject of the double CD album Metal Beat. Okay. Well, I thought this was going to be about the song we just listened to. Critical reception. It received positive reviews as it should. Record Mirror gave the album 5 out of 5. I'm not worried about what other people think. You guys, yes. I don't care about the critics. Even though I guess we're all critics, aren't we? All right, let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be No One Driving, which I hear there's a few cars that are doing that now. How are those going? I don't know. I like the piano that's played along with this, and that synth, and of course that rising sequencer.
The family's back from long ago.
Now vocal harmony.
The voices burnt, the voices go. Paper trails go by.
Bass doubling up.
Voices on the lines. Nothing to come back to. Can't we fade? There's no one driving. No one driving. There's no one driving. There's no one.
I like how it claps at the end here. Right there. They sound so like crushed. Solo kind of lighten things up. It's like he's making those notes with his mouth, I think.
There's no one driving. There's no one driving. There's no one driving. There's no one.
Definitely his most dramatic delivery so far, I would say.
Someone's gone liquid in the sheets.
Is that a reference?
A sudden smell of burning leaves. The old streets overgrown. There's somewhere else to go. It's just another switchback. Can't we fade? There's no one driving. There's no one driving. There's no one driving. There's no one.
I like how he follows that melody really nicely. I really like how at this particular halfway point, we definitely get what I would say is the most dramatic and, most passionate song at this particular point, especially when it comes to Foxx's singing. He's really going for it on this one, especially on the last line of the chorus. There's no driving. Like the way he holds it right there. Like, I think that really shows a lot of heart, and he's really singing out, as opposed to, some of the maybe more closer to the microphone intimate moments or plaintive singing that he's performed here. And I like how the synths really capture that drama as well. not in an overly melodramatic way, but he just perfectly kind of rides the way that those keys are playing. And I like how he does a great job, for example, in the chorus. He sings a line, and then you hear the keys. Like, there's no one dry. Bum, 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 dry, bum, bum, bum. There's more back and forth. And on that last line where I said that he holds a note, they kind of both ride together. You hear those claps, which kind of sound like very, very compressed and crushed or something. So there's even this kind of interesting production on those. Because at first I wasn't even sure what that sound was. And I think that he's making some sounds with his mouth during the break there, which had a really nice, I don't want to say solo, but a really nice lead. They're incredibly pleasant. And I like how it kind of took away the tension for a moment, just for a moment in this track, to give us that little break with that nice little lead. And then he sounds like he's making noises with his mouth, like or something. And then it goes right back to it. And the song is called No One Driving. If I'm in a car and no one's driving, it's probably something wrong. And I hope that that car is parked in that case. But I'm imagining you're just in a runaway car. You're stuck in the back seat. And so there is a tension. There is this anxiety that's being built up. And I think that he's kind of capturing that idea in the way he's delivering it. Now, he may not literally be talking about a car, even though, as we read on the Wikipedia page, a lot of the songs do have references to cars, automobiles, travel, transportation. But perhaps No One Driving isn't about a car, and perhaps about the direction of mankind or something. Or it could be the direction of the relationship of some sort. Seems like you were lit inside. I feel like fog beside the shine. Figure fades away. Someone takes my place. Meshing with the pictures on the pages. There's no one driving. There's no one driving. The family's back from long ago. The voice is burnt. The voice is gold. Vapor trails go by. Voices on the lines. Nothing to come back to. Can't we fade? I think we get a reference to a previous song here. Someone's gone liquid in the sheets. A sudden smell of burning leaves. The old street's overgrown. There's somewhere else to go. It's just another switchback. Can't we fade? There's no one driving. So I feel like he's talking about time moving forward. He says the old street's overgrown. You know, where can we go? There's no one driving. There's no direction in some capacity. I feel like that's what he's kind of getting to. But as to what exactly he's talking about, brother, I got to tell you, I got no idea. Meshing with the pictures on the pages. Figure fades away. Everything is going away. I feel like fog beside the shine. Burnt voices gold. Vapor trails go by. Vapor trails are remnants of something that was, of course, going by. So all of this is about loss or something fading or, you know, something disappearing. And no one's driving. Perhaps that vehicle is just unmanned and just going into a direction nonstop, and that can't be stopped. And so, of course, all these other things are left behind in some capacity. I don't know, man, but it's cool. Let's move on to the next track here, which is A New Kind of Man. Here we go. We open the second side with some drum.
He stepped out of the film again, brushed off the dust and walked away. The touch of a hand was fading from him. A different scene began. A voiceover through scenes
like
of
that.
sunrise. It feels like someone's using my eyes. Tinsel wind and curtains blowing. He looked down at his hands. He was a new kind of man. He was a new kind of man. He was a new kind of man.
That sounds great. With that underlying bass.
On his face is young again, 19 again. Blue hills on a distant skyline. Someone took his hand. An underwater kind of silence.
Empty that.
Humming of electric pylons.
Don't
static. Another scene began. It was a new kind of man. It was a new kind of man. It was a new kind of man.
Double up on the kick. Okay. Oh, that section is 5 out of 5.
No one to project them onto. He drives by 1958, and someone says his name. He waved out of the film again. He turned and he flickered and he walked away. He felt a distant kind of longing. Another scene began. It was a new kind of man. It was a new kind of man. It was a new kind of man.
I love that synth though. That slide on the bass. Okay. You're not going to believe what I have to say. So as we enter back into this second half of the album, it slaps us in the face with a cold pail of water, just ice to us, right? It's a big energetic slap in the face. And if I'm being 100% honest, as I was listening to this song, I said, this is okay. This is okay. I think it's okay. However, that big, tense, screaming wail of a synth, that is so cool. And I love, love, love that sound and the harshness, the way it just screeches and pierces through. I think that is absolutely brilliant. And I got to find the exact time because I was trying to look at it, but I wasn't paying exact attention. One of the best moments of the album, I feel. The drum machine double kicks and doubles up. That tense atmosphere gets that much more heavier. A little bit of solo here. Guys, that little segment right there, I think is one of the best moments in this album. Like top 3 moments. And I would have loved for that to go on in some capacity. It does, to an extent, carry on in the verse as it goes here, but it kind of empties out, right? But this, listen, that solo, and listen to the motif come back. Here we go. That could have gone on for days, and I would be just sitting in the desert asking for water, talking to a snake, thinking it's a man. I could have just give me that. I don't need the water. Hallucinating in an oasis. What did that sentence even mean that I was saying? That was just such a cool moment, and I like how that's kind of like the boiling peak of this track. I think the track is cool. I think it's okay. It's just that moment stood out so much that I man, that's a star. That is a gem. Not in dirt, because this track wasn't dirt, but that is just such a standout moment here. So let's talk about this new kind of man. He stepped out of the film again, brushed off the dust and walked away. The touch of a hand was fading from him. A different scene began. A voiceover through scenes of sunrise. It feels like someone's using my eyes. Tinsel wind and curtains blowing. He looked down at his hands. He was a new kind of man. Like he's questioning himself. He's looking at himself. He was a new kind of man. He feels the rain upon his face. He's young again, 19 again. Blue hills on a distant skyline. Someone took his hand. An underwater kind of silence. Humming of electric pylons. And of course you get his vocals in a kind of staticky radio transmission moment as it, mentions here. Don't forget me. Fades in static. Another scene began. Almost like he's trying to hold on to himself, but as he looks down at his hands, he's realizing he's not himself. And then he hears that voice that says, don't forget me. Perhaps that's his voice, don't forget himself, as he begins to lose himself and become a new kind of man. Transparent faces from the old school, no one to project them onto. He drives by 1958 and someone says his name. He's waved out of the film again. He turned and he flickered and he walked away. He felt a distant kind of longing. Another scene began. Like before he is able to actually be part of this moment, before he's able to appreciate this moment, time has already moved on and that moment is gone. Like tears in the rain. This could, of course, be about an actor who is just moving from one scene to another and, they're playing a character. So they aren't themselves. They're a new person, a new kind of man. Or it could just be about anyone else who's just trying to hold on to the moment. But before you know it, the moment's gone and it's past. Time has moved forward. The only way that time can go. Let's go on to the next track here. Whoops, almost closed my recording software. Let's move on to the next track here, which is Blurred Girl. Sometimes when I was like around 12 or 13 years old and I turned on the TV at about 3 a.m, I saw a lot of...
Please clap.
That theremin sound, huh? I like how hollow and empty this is, putting us in this synthetic jungle almost. I love that theremin sound though. like how that harpsichord sound works with his voice very well here, melodically and rhythmically. I really love the tracks like this one, where Foxx kind of plays more into a bare kind of scene, where a lot of the sound is very hollow. There's not so much happening. It's very much more into the minimalistic side of things. And I feel like in that space is where some of the best sounds that we've heard are created and are performed. In here, I love how the drum groove alongside the bass kind of jumping on top of the kick there is just a steady, slow, and yet still kind of brooding, heavy, sound there. And it's not the straight synthetic kind of drum that we've been hearing. It's like a different type. But the way that the bass plays on top of it just works really nicely, I feel. And it kind of gives it a more rounded sound there. So putting that there, then, the very light but melodic ding, da, ding, da, ding, like that just happening on the side, almost like a harpsichord kind of sound that we've heard before. And then as the track moves forward, we hear this theremin or a theremin-like sound that just kind of high-pitchedly wavers in and out with its very beautifully strange and alien vibrato. And we're once again getting a performance from Foxx in which he sings a little more out, right? Not so much to hear to himself, but a little bit more out. And I really like how he does that within this kind of hollow space, because it allows for him to kind of fill that room a little bit more with himself and his personality coming through his singing, rather than so many, synths and sounds and keys and sequencers and arps and barks and this and that, the beeps and the creeps and the squeaks and everything. But even though that has its place and that's great, but I do like these bare tracks. Can I say something really quick about Blurred Girl? I enjoyed his singing. I enjoyed it. I'm not taking anything away from him. But who would have been really cool to hear in this track? I feel like Peter Gabriel could have nailed this one. There was something about it. I was just listening to it and I was like, man, I would love to hear Gabriel's emotional singing in this kind of track, I'm not replacing Foxx. It was just my mind I was just thinking of some non-canon events. Let's look at the track here, the lyrics. I'm taking nothing, it's not my way. It's almost summer now, this bed's been made. Some time ago, a figure strolled along the esplanade, changing in the mist and light underneath the green arcades. A blurred girl, are we running still? Or are we standing still? I like that. Are we running still? Or are we standing still? There's kind of a play on words there. Are we running, like asking someone, are we running still? Like, are we going to continue to do this? Or are we, in a contrasting kind of way, are we running still, not moving? Which he reemphasizes as he says, or are we standing still? Which either way, there's no movement involved. I really like that kind of double play on the words. Standing so close, never quite touching. Standing so close, never quite touching. Wounded in sleep again, the sequences move by me. Once again, kind of a reference to time moving forward, moving past you, just like we listened to with A New Man. A million miles across the room, a tearing sound of smiling. Interesting how, the sound of smiling, if you were to attribute a sound to it, should be positive, but tearing does not sound so. We're fixing distances on maps and echo paths in crowds. The light from other windows falls across me now. Standing so close, never quite touching. So, obviously, I think, standing so close, never quite touching is some of the lines we've gotten before. We're very close to each other, but not quite connecting. And I think that is, the line or the two lines that really emphasize the title of the track, A Blurred Girl. You can see a figure, you can see a person, you can almost recognize who it is, but it's blurry. The image is not quite clear. And so you don't really know this person. You don't really connect with this person. As it says, emphasized in those last two lines of standing so close, never quite touching. That's a cool way of kind of bringing that all together lyrically in that particular moment there. Let's move on to the next one, which is 030, which could be a reference to, I don't know. I didn't have an answer, but maybe we'll get one after this. I'm going to say the F word. I'm going to say the F word. Filler. Honestly, don't even want to spend a lot of time talking about this one because I just thought it was weak. I thought it was boring. If I rated songs, I would rate it a 2 out of 5. It's completely average. There's absolutely nothing that stands out to me in here. Everything is just nice. It's, to me, this is a completely average track. On an album that's been just batting, bah, batting, bah, batting, bah. This one's a strikeout. I'm not saying it's bad. It's not like it's offensive or whatever. It's just boring. Every single other song on this album has been this one. I don't know what that sound. I don't even have a lot to say about it. Just male Caucasian, pattern scarring, domestic gestures just like mine. Kennedy hairline remix features. Someone pushing through my outline. Voices merging, faces blurring, voices blurring, faces merging. Lieutenant 030, X-rays match up. Sunlit concrete, missing 1969. File a decaying car, buried in the sand, empty clothing blows across a beach. Don't even know what that means. I'll do a quick Google search on it just to see if there's any info. Otherwise, I think that this is a completely like whatever track. Someone says on songmeanings.com, this song, like a lot of other songs from John Foxx, is pretty cryptic. It doesn't make sense at all, but there are general clues. It could be a reference to alluding to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Sure, okay. Someone says that 030 is the phone code of Berlin. JFK was a Berliner. Okay. When I don't even like a track, I don't really care that much about it. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But the 030 is not. At least it was short. Let's move on to the next one, which is going to be Tidal Wave. This one better blow me over. Or bowl me over. You didn't want to talk about it. Kind of like the drum, the rhythm of this one. This sounds great. I like that little quiver in the notes.
A glimpse of old sunlight, no sound at all. A flicker of flashback, background dissolves. Tidal wave, tidal wave, tidal wave goes by my window.
I like when this song comes in. It's like a sea creature coming out. Okay. If 030 was, what did I say, a 2 out of 5 or whatever if I was rating songs, Tidal Wave would be like a 3.3 out of 5. Because I did like it a little bit more. It's honestly, it still didn't like get me, but I enjoyed that a lot more. Once again, we're kind of going back to this bare bones kind of sound, the more minimalistic side of things where it's more focused on the space and the things happening within that space. And I like that. I like when we go into that direction. And I'll be honest, I didn't really care too much for John singing in this one. I didn't like the Tidal Wave. I didn't care for that part. But I did like kind of everything else. If this was an instrumental, I might have given this a little bit more. I love the bare bones kind of drum pattern that's given here. It kind of moves in an almost tribal-esque kind of way. And once again, the kind of drum sound that he's incorporating here, I think works really well. I love when that synth comes in. Kind of the tidal wave. That comes in. I like the little clicks. Like, I really enjoy that whole kind of, I guess you could argue that kind of ebb and flow of the music, like a wave, and the way that it came up and down. I thought that was really cool. There's a moment around 2 minutes or so that I also thought sounded really wonderful. Yeah, right here. Like, I like this kind of steady mysteriousness that's being built. Yeah, right there. There's a certain calm drama that's happening where it's kind of like the waters when you're looking out over a lake, an ocean, whatever it is. It's calm, it's serene, barely of movement, but there's something underneath, a little thalassophobia happening where there's a giant monstrosity lurking underneath, like, but you don't even know what it is. Matter of fact, hold on, you give me a second. It's like, I guess any of these really work. It really doesn't matter. It's like this, right? Thalassophobia, fear of deep waters, right? Like on the surface, but there's something deep and you don't know what could be in like this hole, you know, like it's that kind of feeling, like everything on top is fine, but there's something under there, right? Like this photo, I won't say it freaks me out, but there's something about it, right? I just think that is what this track captures. And of course, perhaps that could be because the title of the track is, Tidal Wave. But, I get that feeling from it. So I think that that's really, really cool how that's captured. Once again, I don't love John's vocal performance here. I would have kind of liked this to be an instrumental, but that's just me. That's just me kind of being a little picky, perhaps. Tidal wave goes by my window, where swimming it's morning, no sound at all. Through floors of apartments, background dissolves. You're balancing bravely, it's been so long. You're speaking, can't hear you, no sound at all. A glimpse of old sunlight, no sound at all. A flicker of flashback, background dissolves. Tidal wave. This tidal wave is washing everything away. Perhaps this is a scene of a tidal wave coming and disaster striking. So, you're speaking, but I can't hear you as the sound of this tidal wave is there. Of course, it doesn't have to be literal, but it could be representative of something else. No sound at all through apartments, through floors, background dissolves. Like this tidal wave, whatever it is, seems to be a destructive force that comes and, it's of course so roaring loud that you can't hear anything. So senses are lost. And of course, there's much other loss happening with it. No sound at all, background dissolves. It could just be like a tidal wave washing everything away and destroying everything in a big clearing catastrophe. And once again, it doesn't have to be literal. It could be representative of something completely different. Let's move into the final track of the album, Touch and Go. A little boop. And then we'll go.
Shatter light, and I watched as we go away through a sea of suits and the tangled up streets and the cities in a grey-blue haze.
It's got some swing to it.
The catalogue, all the places folding underneath the daylight moon. Grey eyes, brown eyes, man nights, red skies. Well, I keep on in a shirts, getting letters from Tokyo. And we're sitting in a shaky lake, gliding over to a girl with a broken nose. There's motorway sparks and meetings in the park and fires from years ago. You can watch your friends through this tiny lens, then you'll know that there's no way home. So while I am the one who waits here, we all know that it's all such a game of touch and go. Let's play at touch and go. Waking up in the moving windows, going out again to play the game of touch and go.
I like the way he sings here. Very poppy and charismatic.
Touch. Go.
That's a nice breakdown.
Touch and go. Touch and go. Touch. Go. Touch and go. Touch and go.
I love the change there. That was cool. It almost has a toy box kind of sound with that synth even.
Now it's springtime on the moving stairway. Time to start again. And I'm wondering vaguely just whose face this is, and could we ever be friends? Outside now it's so huge and blue, and the city windows start to glow. And the tides are soft as we're casting off, and the summer starts to show. So while I am the one who waits here, well, I like to play the game of touch and go.
I love how he sings into the chorus, that pre-chorus
Touch
there.
and go. I'm waking up in the moving windows, going out again to play the games of touch and go. 'Cause it's also touch and go. So let's go.
I like this. Let's go. Let's take it. Doesn't it have a toy kind of sound to it? That beauty rising. I love how that so organically rose into the music, this section here, which will probably be the outro. That's really cool. It's like it's been reclaimed here. I like that. I like how it comes back. We're not done. Oh, and there it's gone. 7 seconds remaining. You always got to check. You never know if there might be a secret hidden track, you know, like they used to do. Ladies and gentlemen, John Foxx, Metamatic, full album listen and reaction done and complete. Check it off the list. Went down now on my list from 214 albums to 213. It's a mountain of a task, but someone's got to put on their hiking gear and do it. This was a fun album. This track, I think, kind of is a perfect conclusion to it all. in which we kind of snap back to that full sound, that poppy maneuvering, while still maintaining minimalistic sensibilities in this electronic phase, I think works very, very wonderful. I love John singing in here. I love the pre-chorus, especially before, he sings like higher. He builds it up before he drops into the touch and go. Bar, 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 touch and go. And a lot of the synth sounds in here, at least for me, kind of reminded me of like a toy box or like toy synths. And it kind of had a little bit more of a playfulness to it, a jolly sound. And that came through a lot within, like I said, the keys and the synths in here, which were very, very much more playful. I love, however, the outro, the ending here, where the music drops out. Just that drum beat remains for the most part. And then so steadily and organically, that little bed of atmosphere begins to rise, begins to grow, as if this, maybe not literal, but as if the nature is reclaiming the technology that's been used here, even though, of course, it's still technology. Like it's taking it over, and it becomes so beautiful. It begins to bloom and flourish, and then it's cut off. Then it happens again. A little bit of a vine creeps up, and then the music's over. Then that ends the album. But I thought that was a really nice outro to kind of lead us out of the album and into, well, not greener pastures. We've already gone through these pastures. But just to end everything. But the playfulness of this song felt really, really nice to listen to. And this is just a fun album. I'm having a great time. Besides 1 to 1.5 of these tracks. We stepped out in the shattered light, and I watched as we blew away through a sea of seats and the tangled up streets. And the city's in a gray-blue haze. In the catalog, all the places fold in, like a catalog will fold in, underneath a daylight moon. Gray eyes, brown eyes, mad nights, red skies. Well, I keep them in a jumble room, so while I am the one who waits here, we all know that it's such a game of touch and go. Once again, I don't know, this may not be necessarily a concept or a thematic album. It's a mematic album, not a thematic album.
Please clap.
But there is a lot of reference to times passing, moments, and, touch and go. It's touch and go. It's a moment, and then you're moving on. Let's play at touch and go. I'm waking up in the moving windows, says Rush, going out to play the game of touch and go, because it's all so touch and go. The summer boy in his dark blue shirt getting letters from Tokyo, and we're sitting in a shaky lake or gliding over to a girl with a broken nose. There's motorway sparks and meetings in the park and fires from years ago. You can watch your friends through this tiny lens, then you'll know that there's no way home. So while I am the one who waits here, we all know that's such a game of touch and go. Like, he's saying that he's the one that's waiting. People will come to him, but never staying there. In whatever respect that may mean. It's always touch and go. It's always a moment, a touch, a brief intimacy, and then it's gone. Because it's also touch and go. Let's go. Now it's springtime on the moving stairway. Time to start again. And I'm wondering vaguely just whose face this is, and could we ever be friends? There's even a loss of memory because it was touch and go. There was never that connection. No time spent. Outside now it's so huge and blue, and the city windows start to glow. And the tides are soft as we're casting off as the summer starts to show. So while I am the one who waits here, where I like to play the game of touch and go, he says he likes to play it, let's play at touch and go. I'm waking up in the moving windows, going out again to play a game of touch and go. So let's go. I like how the last line of this album is let's go. His final statement in this in his debut album, of course, solo album, let's go, let's continue. This isn't the last that you'll hear from me, as obviously there's several albums after this. I think that sounds really, really wonderful. I really enjoyed this album. Like I said, I got a long list of albums to work through. And I try to choose ones that I believe will, in some capacity match what I'm feeling or what I want to listen to. I can't know that for all of the albums, but, obviously if I see, for example, I don't know, Judas Priest. Well, okay, I know it's going to be metal, so I have to be in a metal mood. I know with John Foxx, we've listened to a couple tracks. I know it's going to be electronic based, so so I kind of have an idea of what I feel like listening to and I'm in the mood for. And this is so wonderfully, perfectly in the mood for what I am right now. Favorite tracks on the album? Underpass is really, really good. I think I also really like Metal Beat in this album, but I think you already know my favorite moment in the album. The best moment in this album just thought of something. Listen to that again. Hold on. Shh. Just listen to that again. Listen to the that duck call solo. Okay, I gotta find it. But doesn't it remind you a little bit? Before. This synth part. The keys. This. I'm reaching. Let me know what you guys thought of the album, your favorite tracks, your not favorite tracks in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here and for watching the video. Hopefully you watched the entire thing, or else I wouldn't be thanking you, because you wouldn't see that I'm thanking you. So if you see that I'm thanking you, know that I'm thanking you, and I know that you saw the whole video up to this point. Press the like button if you didn't. By the way, at 2 minutes and 30 seconds when I first mentioned in the video, Patreon is there if you want to support. Buy Me a Coffee is there if you want to support. Thank you as always for being here. Come back tomorrow. I had to fit Genesis in there, didn't I? That's a top 5 song though. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all later. Bye.